Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Rebecca Adehill Show. I hope that you are having the most magical start to your week. I am really excited to be back here recording another episode on this beautiful Monday. And I want to have a conversation with you today that is going to help you in the most profound ways to really making sure that we set you up in business and in life so that you can, no matter what, follow through on everything that is important to you, no matter what happens. And I want to take you back to a time where I was told about creating my dream week and my ideal week. And I sort of went to work and, this is years back, and I started to create my ideal week. And I'm like, well, in an ideal world, I would like to wake up just before sunrise. I want to go to the gym, then have a morning coffee on the beach. Then I want to have, going to work at 9 o'clock and I want to finish at lunch. And I sort of set up, this ideal week in an ideal world. Now, the thing was that there is nothing ideal about my week because I have children, I have external people and things that are relying on me. So what I realized after I had set such incredible ideal week for myself is that I struggle to follow through on all of the things that I set out to do. I want to give you an example. My ideal time to train is first thing in the morning. Now, with 3 little kids, I had 3 kids in 3.5 years. So training at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning was no longer ideal for my own personal circumstance. And same with work, starting work at 9 o'clock in the morning. That was a touch too early for me because I had to drop the kids off at 8:30 and all of those things. So of course I had to adjust my schedule so that I could create a week to really making sure that I followed through and also was able to do all of the things that I had to do, other responsibilities in my life outside of myself. But here is what I found. I would come to the end of the week because I didn't change my ideal week. My ideal week was still there, but I got to the end of the week and I was like, haven't done that. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't follow through on those things in my business. I didn't do that. And I got to the end of the week feeling like I had failed. And so many of my clients, when they first start working with me, they experience the same thing. And their intentions are really good. They're like, I'm going to post 10 times a week. I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. And then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. They say all of those things, but then they get to the end of the week and they're like, oh, I had sick kids. I couldn't follow through. Or this happened, so I couldn't follow through on that. Ultimately, they will get to the end of the week feeling exactly the same way like I did. And I was like, something has to change here. Because as most of us are growing families, so we have families or partners or dogs or whatever we have a lot of things that we are responsible for. So if we can actually step away from looking at our week or creating this week through the lens of it needing to be an ideal week, because something that I know to be very true about my life is that it's nothing ideal about my life because shit happens. I've got 3 little kids. I've got 2 dogs and a husband. I've got myself. I've got my brother and his family living at a house at the moment. We have a lot of things going on. A lot of people are relying on me and vice versa. So there is actually nothing ideal about my day or my week. I thought to myself, I am going to change this so that I can still follow through on my worst days. So the first question that I asked myself, what is important in my life right now? What is important? If you're looking at the wheel of life and all these little pieces of pies, if it's your health, finances, your business, family, relationship, friendships, hobbies, what is it in your wheel of life right now that is really important? And I want to highlight this, that not everything in your wheel of life is going to be equally as important in this given moment. Just take a minute for that, because here is where a lot of people go wrong. when they say I strive for balance, well, number one, balance is a beautiful thing, but I believe that a lot of people view balance the wrong way. In my experience and in my opinion, balance is not having all of those pieces of the pie perfectly even. Balance for me is my internal state of being okay with my own priorities in life. Just take a moment for that at the moment, because if you are not seeing all of your friends right now, or if you are not prioritizing going to the gym 5 days a week, or if you are not prioritizing your hobbies right now and you're in a season of like family and growing your business, good for you. Congratulations, you are doing something, you are honoring the season that you're in. Because if you are giving 20% here and 10% here and then 20% here, you are just going to feel like you are behind. So when we can learn to look at balance through that different lens of balance will change depending on the season of life I'm currently in. Am I okay with the way I am prioritizing things in my life in this given moment? And if the answer is no, what needs to shift in order for my internal state feeling balanced? What needs to shift so you internally feel, I feel like I am in balance right now? The second part, and especially, and I am going to assume the majority of you that are listening to this, you will have a business or you are working in some capacity or you have other commitments. So I want you to ask yourself right now, how many hours per week can you currently prioritize to your business? And there was a time where I could only prioritize 10 to 15 hours per week, period. That was all I had, and I was okay with that. I had to surrender to the season of life I was currently in versus feeling like, oh shit, I only have 10 to 15 hours. I flipped that mindset, and instead I said, I have 10 to 15 hours per week. Watch me go and watch me move the needle. I am going to make every second count. So get really real. What is important to you? And how much time do you currently have with the season that you're currently in to put towards your business? Get real. It's not an ideal world, not an ideal week. Get real. Then I want you to ask yourself this. What could possibly go wrong? Now we're going to break it down not to your week, but into the individual day. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, what could possibly go wrong? And let me share what could possibly go wrong in my world. Like I've said before, I have my 3 little kids. And what could possibly go wrong? That all of them decide not to sleep. We're going to have a really bad sleep. I'm going to get minimal sleep that night, maybe a couple of hours if I'm lucky, maybe an hour. So I'm going to wake up really tired in the morning. I'm going to feel like I have not even gone to bed yet. Then I realize that one of my kids, they're sick. So now we are having a bit of a challenge because the energy in the home is sort of just a bit down. It's sort of just a bit flat. We're having grumpy kids, tired kids. One of them is sick. 2 of them is off to school. It's just a lot going on. So our day didn't really start in the most beautiful way. Then my husband stays at home with the sick one, and I drop my other 2 to school. They start school at 8:30. I'm then going to assume that one of them, if not both, will have major meltdowns. And as the conscious parent that I am, I want to make sure that I can be there and hold space for them. So they're going to have a meltdown, and I'm going to have to stay at school for at least an hour before they wave me off goodbye happy again. So I'm going to have to stay at school for an entire hour. Then I drive into work and I spill coffee on my white dress. I get into work, a few things happening at work, and I'm just like, my day is shit. Then I keep going like that throughout my whole day. I ask myself, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? What could go wrong? And it's not necessarily because I believe things are going to go wrong, but here is what we are going to do. So I want you to ask yourself that question. get real. What could go wrong? Because here is what I know to be very true. If I had scheduled training at 7 o'clock that morning, I can tell you right now that I would not have followed through because I would not have slept. I had sick kids. I had grumpy kids, all sorts of things. I would have canceled the gym to prioritize my family. So then my health is out the window. So get really real. What could possibly go wrong? Because here is what we are going to do next. When you know what could possibly go wrong with your day, we are then going to create your perfect week on a worst case scenario type day. Let that land. We are going to create your perfect week on the worst case scenario type day. So let me give you an example of what that looks like for me. Number one, our household in the morning, whether we have a big sleep or not sleep at all, between like 6:30 and 7:30 in the morning, we have quiet time. We all sit down and I have my morning coffee. I take an entire hour to drink my morning coffee in the morning. 1 hour. I sit there. Either I sit on the couch or I'm outside on my beautiful deck watching the sunrise, enjoying my morning coffee for a full hour. And now, monkey see, monkey do. So my children, they are just as zen as my husband and I in the morning. Even the dogs like their morning meditation. We have a very calm household for that first hour. Then when we drop the kids to school, and I don't even drop my kids to school every day. Sometimes my husband will take all three, or I take two of them, he takes one because our little one still goes to preschool. So sometimes we sort of split up and sometimes he takes all of them, but I will still cater or even carry myself with the assumption that I'm going to take the kids. So then I am going to assume that one of them at least is going to have a meltdown. Now, let me highlight, that has only happened twice, maybe 3 times since they started school. So it rarely happens, but I cater for that. So if one of them would have a meltdown, I allow myself 90 minutes to hold space for my children for as long as they need me so that I don't have to rush or so that I don't have to leave them while they are still upset. I will stay there and hold space for my children until we figure out what's going on, until they are better, and I won't leave until they give me a smile and wave me goodbye. And now, once I get in the car, my work hat is on. But because we had a pretty traumatic sort of drop-off, things were a little bit stressful, I want to make sure that I can come in to my beautiful studio, to my beautiful office, and I just want to ground my energy and really transition into work mode. I want to make myself a coffee. I want to take a little mirror selfie. I want to create my first Instagram story for the day, and then I can start my first meeting. So I never schedule a meeting before 10 o'clock in the morning. No meetings before 10 a.m. simply because I'm planning for the worst to happen. Then I know at 10 o'clock, I've had my second coffee, kids are off at school, I've done my transition. Now I'm ready to dive into work. And I know exactly what needs to get done from me within that time frame. I focus on the needle moving activities, so I leave no room for procrastination. Now, when it comes to the afternoon, so remember my ideal, quote unquote, ideal time to work out is in the morning, but I choose to honor the season of life that I'm in. So now I train at 3:15 in the afternoon. So by then, kids wouldn't be in school. I would have had my coffee, a productive day at work. I know that I can follow through and go and have a really good workout at 3:15 in the afternoon. That is actually not my most ideal time to exercise because, in the afternoon, you sort of get a bit tired, you want to go home, it's sort of the end of the day, but I know that I will follow through. I've got nothing that stops me other than my mindset telling me now and again that I'm a little bit tired, maybe you should go home, maybe you should have a rest, that internal dialogue. Other than that, there is nothing that stops me from being able to follow through. Now, creating a schedule like this, number one, I am going to get to the end of the week feeling like I have accomplished everything that is important to me. So now when you have this beautiful schedule, you will get to Friday afternoon and you will say, I did a really good job this week. I followed through on all of the things that I set out to do. I was a present parent. I held space for my kids. I showed up and I was productive at work every single day. I followed through and got my workouts in for the week. And now I'm at the end of the week and look what I have accomplished. Simply because you have now created a system that supports you and the season of life that you're in. And that is going to evolve and change over time. So I highly suggest that in 6 to 12 months, you re-look at your schedule and then you move it as well. So maybe you need to change and pivot your schedule as your circumstances change. And that is okay. But by creating a schedule, your perfect week on the worst case scenario type day, this also really allows you to be super present in all areas of your life. You will never feel like you are doing things on the fly or that you are not having enough time to do something, because in the beginning, you have been really honest with the season of life that you're in, what you are willing to give your time and energy to, so you feel that internal state of balance. Once you have that, you have now created a schedule so you know that you can still follow through even on your worst days. It's like giving yourself the most comforting hug, almost saying like, I've got you. I'm not here to work against you. I'm here to work with you. And I'm here to create a schedule for you so that you can thrive even on your worst days. This has been the most game-changing method and way for me. And I have helped so many of my clients design their weeks this way as well. And I just had to share it with you because I know this is going to change so much for you when you learn to be really honest and honor the season of life that you're in, and simply just creating this beautiful sense of support and structure around you so you can follow through on all of the things that are really important to you. I really hope that you have loved this episode. I can even feel me recording this episode that I feel really grounded just sitting here sharing this with you. No place to be other than being here, recording this right in this moment. And this is a powerful thing, that when you create a schedule that works in alignment with the season of life that you're in, you are going to feel so supported to execute on all of the things that are important to you. If this episode resonated with you, share with a friend, or I would love if you can leave me a review below. That would mean the absolute world to me. Or reach out to me on Instagram. Thank you for being here every single week. I appreciate every single one of you, and I cannot wait to see you back here next week for another episode.